Yeah, I mean, look, Pulte isn't qualified. He's obviously there to sort of be a hatchet man. Clayton isn't qualified either. He wasn't qualified to be the U.S. Attorney in Manhattan either, I might point out. He had never worked at the Justice Department before that. He had never been a prosecutor in any locality, or much less a federal.
He was just a lawyer?
He was a transactional lawyer, and then during the Trump's first term, he was at the SEC, which has sort of half transactional, half litigation.
Someone like me who did mergers and acquisitions suddenly becoming the Attorney General of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing I would point out about him, though, because when people, when he was up for the U.S. Attorney, the theory was like, oh, he's going to be a more competent, reliable, stand-up guy. Well, okay, so he gets in office. And just a couple of weeks ago, it's his office as prosecutors who went and subpoenaed the New York Times reporters. Mm-hmm. And it is his office as prosecutors who made absolute fools of themselves in front of a judge last week because they couldn't even cross their T's and dot their I's correctly and do the most basic things correct. So he was not competent to have the job he currently has, and he's not doing a good job at that one either. So this is the Trump administration, so you get promoted based on things that have nothing to do with your merit. There's a DEI for people like Jay Clayton, but nobody else in the country. And
that is really what DEI really is.
This is what it is.
Yeah, right, like the overly qualified black people, women, LGBTQ folks in the government, those are qualified.
It's the job.
Come on now.
No, because their qualification is whether or not they believe, as Jay Clayton does, or as Blanche does, whether they believe or whether they pretend to not know the real answer to whether or not Joe Biden won the election in 2020.
So about that, Counselor. You have Todd Blanche confirmation coming up on Thursday. There's some doubt now. I'm using air quotes for the people at home to quote my friend Simone about whether or not Cornyn, who's seemingly threatening here. I'm going to play a little mashup for you of Cornyn and Tillis, Senator Tillis, on this whole slush fund status thing, and then we'll dance with it on the other side.
Does it have to be filed in a court before you'd be convinced, or would a handshake be enough?
It has to be in writing and signed by Todd Blanche.
Do you need to see that by Thursday in order to be able to vote him out of committee?
Yes.
If the vote were today, would you be a no?
Well, I've said the 1776. I don't know how better I can communicate other than the 1776 fund has to have a fork stuck in it.
And at this moment,
I could say we need 86 to 1776.
86, 1776. So this idea that, as John Cornyn noted, it has to be in writing and signed by Todd Blanche, but this document also has to be signed by Donald Trump, and Todd Blanche knows that. I submit to you that John Cornyn knows that too. So even if Todd Blanche signs it, does it really mean anything at this point?
It's really tough to say. I mean, this is all premised on the idea that these people are going to abide by their word or comply with documents they've signed. If the Republican Party has any defining characteristic at this historical moment, and I say this like you as someone who very much grew up in that ideological atmosphere, their defining characteristic is utter cowardice in the face of Trumpian intimidation. So I'd love to believe that Cornyn and Tillis are going to do the right thing, but we were talking about this before we came in. I think the best we're going to get is that this goes to the floor without a recommendation. And that's going to allow Tillis and it's going to allow Cornyn to not have given a full throttle endorsement of Blanche, but it also allows them to not really muck up the MAGA works. And I just think anytime there's
so
that
sort of, with the one vote, maybe two, and
yeah, and like, look, anytime there's a craven compromise that allows Trump to get what he wants while still allowing certain individuals to voice an objection. I mean, Susan Collins is a masterclass in this. That's what they do.
Ankush, the conversation about the slush fund is one thing, but when the slush fund happened, when it went from a $10 billion lawsuit from Donald Trump to the IRS, what they also did was give immunity. So even if they get rid of the slush fund, even if they 86 the slush fund, as Tillis just said, at the end of the day, Donald Trump and his sons have immunity from investigation into their taxes up until this point. That's the real, to me, that's the big thing. That's the big thing. They don't care about the slush fund. Donald Trump doesn't.
Yeah, no, it's an equally significant part of this deal. Cornyn has said that he wants to not even necessarily get them to back off of that part of the deal. He just wants them to confirm that it only applies to the parties. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we're really sort of grading on a curve here. And even Cornyn's effort to, get Blanche to sign a document, just pass a law.
Thank you.
Do these people remember what their jobs are? And the reason why...
I will interrupt you to say Jay Clayton has just been confirmed as the DNI.
One down, one more to go.
Long live DEI.
There you go.
The other thing about, this whole, will Blanche sign the thing, Trump could end this instantly if he wanted to. He gets on the phone, calls his current personal attorneys, tell them, we're undoing this deal. Call his old personal attorney, who happens to be the acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, and tell him, guess what? It's over. One paragraph, the prior resolution is void. This is a very simple thing to do. I think it's not happening because, to your point, everyone's point, Trump doesn't want it to happen. And Cornyn, I mean, we'll see if he gets something on some piece of paper that, to Michael's point, gives him some sort of plausible deniability or feeling that he actually sort of got something out of this. I'm not so sure about Tillis because he sort of likes the posture, but he's been all over the place, and he kind of was fawning over Blanche in the confirmation hearing. So I don't know what this tough guy business is, because he was not present when Todd Blanche was actually sitting in front of him.
He also got what he wanted from Tillis. He told Tillis that he wanted them to have a meeting with the survivors. That's what he got. So what else?
And the meeting was disastrous.
Right.
Since Clayton has now been confirmed as the nation's intel chief, I do think it's important to go back to what the president did now, about 2 weeks ago, when he took time in a primetime address before the American people to lob many election lies that were connected to foreign adversaries. Jay Clayton, just like Bill Pulte, I believe, is going to make good on the threats that the president has been making on his social media site, the things that he's thrown out there in the ether. They are trying to affect the outcome of this election by any means necessary. I'm concerned.
Are you concerned?
I am incredibly concerned. I think I've used the phrase on this show before, my hair is on fire.
I wish I could say that.
Look, I still maintain that DIA is a wholly dispensable agency. Sorry, not DIA, DNI. But it can still do a lot of damage. It still has a lot of holdings that it can selectively declassify, as we saw recently, to give the American people an uninformed, biased picture of things that did not actually happen.